If you're thinking about creating a course, starting a membership website, or coaching clients, then memberships are something you ought to take a look at, because basically what you're talking about with a membership is protecting information and granting access to the people who should have it. There are a couple of ways that you can look at that. You can use a software as a service to do this for you, which can be expensive. They take care of a lot of things for you, but they also limit what you can do, and they take a cut of what you earn. Or another way to go about it, which is my preferred way, is to use WordPress and a membership plugin. And that's what we're going to talk about today. My favorite membership plugin is Wishlist Member, and I'm going to show you why and what it can do for you. Hi, my name is William Beam. I am with Suburbia Press. We like to help online entrepreneurs understand and use the technology that powers their business. Wishlist Member is one of those things. Again, I've mentioned, not only is this just for memberships, if you provide courses, that's another way of saying that I need to protect access to specific content to give to my students. If you do coaching, you need to protect access to give to your coaching clients, whether it's group or individual or anything of that nature. So what is Wishlist Member and why do I recommend it? Wishlist Member is a WordPress plugin. In other words, you need to have a website on WordPress, and it needs to be a robust host for it, because anytime you're going to deal with people who are logging in and interacting with your system, you're not going to get there and have a good site with something like WP Engine, WPX, SiteGround. Those hosts are great for, I'd say, affiliate marketing, but you're going to need a virtual private server, or VPS, and you need something with a couple gigabytes of RAM and some CPU to power this site. But that's not that expensive. And you get a lot of flexibility using a WordPress site because you can pick and choose which tools you integrate. Wishlist Member is perhaps the king of integration among membership plugins. And that goes down to a philosophy that they have. There are some WordPress membership plugins that try to do all the things. They're your payment gateway. They are your learning management system. They are protecting your content. Wishlist Member realized a while back to go a different direction. They do what they do very well, which is to protect and control access to your content. They have some things that are not available with other plugins that give you a lot of flexibility about how you protect your information and how you grant access. And I'm going to show you those inside of this review. But they integrate with best of breed services. And I'm going to show you that as well. And I'm going to show you why that's an advantage to you. So instead of getting a plugin that costs more and does a lot of things kind of in a mediocre way, you can have a best of breed solution with Wishlist Member and other tools that you like. So let me take a look. This is an article that I wrote, which is my review on Wishlist Member. So we're going to go over some of the features. We're going to look at the integrations. We're going to talk about member management. We're going to talk about support. And of course, we'll go over the price. You can see here that I've written up a number of pros and cons, and there are a lot of things I like. For example, this is one of the top tier membership plugins. They're the old time, I don't know if they're the oldest, but they're one of the oldest membership plugins that's been around. They did a really wonderful revamp with version 3. As of this recording, I think they're up to version 3.3, and it's a really good program. They also offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can try this software. If you're not satisfied, they don't ask questions. If you're within that 30-day window, they will give you your money back. Now, there are no coupon codes or promo codes or discounts on Wishlist Member at the time I'm recording this, but I do offer, if you buy it using my promo code or my link, which is suburbiapress.com/wishlist, I have a course on how to use everything inside of Wishlist Member. And typically that sells for $97, but I add that as a bonus to anybody who buys through me. I'll get a small commission from the folks at Wishlist Member, and as a thank you, I will give you my course for free. So there's instructions in this article and in the description below where you can contact me, send me your invoice number. I'll validate that with Wishlist Member, and once they come back and say, yes, this person bought from you, I will grant you the course for free. Not only do you have unlimited membership levels, which is really a good thing, because for course providers, for example, let's say that you have 5 courses. If your user can only have one membership level and you've got a different membership level for each course, that becomes difficult to coordinate. So you want to think about how you're going to use it and why you may want multiple membership levels. That's something that Wishlist Member provides for you. You can have multiple membership levels for your subscribers. On the con side, I would say that canceling or pausing a membership works well within Wishlist Member, but because they use an integration, you have to take another step to make sure that you don't charge somebody who's already canceled or paused their membership. There are some integrations that can handle this automatically. There are times when you may need to look at it to make sure that that automation is working, or you have to manually intervene. So if you go click something to cancel somebody or pause their membership, you may need to go to your payment provider and stop that. And I'd say that the menu interface is not as intuitive as I would like, but that's part of why I offer the course. So you understand what's inside of Wishlist Member, where to find it, and just how much power there really is. So let's go ahead and take a look inside of the dashboard. And let me give you just a quick overview of what you're seeing here. This first section is really the same as what you're seeing down here. The difference is on this level, you're seeing membership level. So I'm going to go over all of these things and I'll show you how they apply to this. The active users shows 12 users overall. Those are how many people have accounts on your WordPress site. On this one, this is just a demo site. I have one person that's actually assigned to a membership level. Then that means I have 11 people on WordPress with accounts that are not members. So that might be an opportunity for you to go market to them. So you can see I have one person active. Nobody's canceled, either that I've canceled them or they've canceled. Now, the reason this is important is if somebody cancels, maybe you can't get them back in, but what you can do is ask them, hey, what's the number one reason why you canceled? And using the information that they give you might give you an opportunity to tweak so someone else doesn't cancel. And of course, membership levels typically have a time period. So there are people who are expired, and you may find there's an opportunity to get them back in. Maybe they didn't realize the expiration happened or some other circumstance. So you might be able to make them an offer or just convince them to sign up again. This one where it says needs approval, there's an option inside of Wishlist Member that allows you to determine that you want to manually approve everybody who comes in. You don't have to do that. You can set this up with your payment provider and it can automatically grant them access and they'll be good to go as soon as they start. But if you make the decision that you want to manually approve everybody, you want to make sure everything's just right, or you have some other onboarding information you need to do, that shows you people who need your attention in order to get them in. Unconfirmed is in case you require that people confirm an email that they click, so you know that their email address is really the one for the user. And those are people who haven't clicked that confirmation link yet. So you may need to follow up with them to get them to click that link if that's your requirement. Now, everything you see up here pretty much is also what you have down here based upon your membership level. So I've got 3, Basic, Pro, and Platinum. So this first one will show you who's active. This next one over here will show you who's canceled. And then the third one, who's expired. And as you can see, this will be who needs approval. And these are the people who are unconfirmed. So basically, by membership level, you can see the people that are in this overall view or global view right over here. On the other side for support, you have video tutorials. I think there's about 30 video tutorials that they have out there. Help documentation, you can put in a support ticket. And if you're a developer, you can get your API documentation right over here. There are a few quick tools. So if you want to create a short code, which you could embed on any WordPress page, if you want to back up your membership, and I'll show you where that is inside as well too. Version rollback is in case there's a release of Wishlist Member and you want to roll back to a previous release. This can be really handy if you have a conflict with another plugin. So maybe the two don't get along. You want to roll this one back until you can figure out and work with your developers to see who is able to correct this for you. It could be with Wishlist Member. It could be with the other plugin that's giving you the conflict, or both of them together. And then email broadcast. This is so that you can send information to your active subscribers that are about their membership. And I say about the membership because obviously you can integrate with your email service provider. So if you're using ConvertKit, ActiveCampaign, I use something called Fluent CRM. This is a WordPress plugin. You can have people there when they enroll, but they may also unsubscribe. And if they do, and you didn't have another way to contact them about changes in the membership site or things that are upcoming or events, then that's why you have this. So you can send them messages that are not marketing messages, but rather system messages. There are also a lot of automated system messages, and we'll take a look at some of those too. I want to look down here at content protection and content control. So let's click on content protection. And there's a difference between protection and access. Protection basically means you must be logged in and have an active account, or anybody who doesn't is locked out. So that's protection. But just because you're logged in doesn't mean you have access to everything. So access is not the fact that there's a lock on the door, but do you have a key that lets you get in a specific door? So those membership levels provide your access. You can have a login if you're not assigned to a membership level. You're in, but you still can't access anything. You're beyond the protection side. And there's some things perhaps you can see, but if there's something that is related specifically to a membership level, then you can't see that. And there are different membership levels. So I said I have basic, pro, and platinum. Well, maybe platinum can see everything beneath it, but basic should not be able to see what is in platinum. So that's the difference between protected and access. You can see what your membership level allows you to see. Now, there is another type called pay per post. In other words, you could put up one page and then charge for access to it. Maybe it's just valuable information. People are willing to pay for it. And that is something I haven't found in other membership plugins. So you don't have to belong to a membership. You don't have to have a whole bunch of groups to go with it. You don't have to have courses to go with it. You just want to pay for one piece of information. Wishlist Member allows you to do that with the pay per post feature. So that's something else to keep in mind. It's an advantage that I don't find in many other plugins. So this one where we see content protection, you can see there are different types, posts, pages, even icons. Some of these are based upon custom post types that come from different plugins. So assignments come from, I use LearnDash as a course or learning management system. So you'll see assignments, there's certificates and questions and quizzes and topics and lessons and courses. So I can provide protection for all of those. Likewise, I also have other plugins. There was one over here called Ninja Tables. That's a plugin I have. It's called Ninja Tables. It creates a view of tables and so forth. So maybe I want to protect those. Also, where you see that there are groups, that comes from BuddyBoss. It is a theme and platform that I use on some of my sites that provides groups, forums, dashboard, and also integrates, say, with Wishlist Member and LearnDash to present kind of an overall theme and environment for your members. So any of these different things, even right down here to categories, you can set permissions for a specific category and just say that for this category, Dubai, for example, I could check this box. And then you can choose these different things as far as what is a protection status going to be. Do you want to add levels or remove levels? So you've got options. You can set protection status for a specific category, and then any post that gets assigned to that category will inherit those protections. So you can do it individually, like I said, with pages and posts. And then the same thing here. You can see at a glance, this one's locked, and that means it is protected. You can see also over here the status, it says it's protected. And also an interesting thing, you can protect the content or the comments separately. So if there are comments on that post, you could lock those down. And this is something where maybe you allow the post or page to be viewed by non-members, but if you want to comment, you have to be a member. So it's an option and something that you might be able to do. The other item on here, content control. This gives you opportunities to say, how am I going to control the content? Again, you can see all these different types of custom post types. What you do here is essentially you enable this display. And do you want to enable the content scheduler, the archiver, and the manager? When you go to a specific post page or type, let's go take a look and I'll show you how that is. So for this test post, you can scroll down to the bottom and you'll see there is a section for Wishlist Member. The first three are going to be on by default. So if we go to protection and access, all it really does is say, is this post unprotected, protected, or is it inherited? Remember what I said about the category. So if the category has permissions assigned to it, then you just inherit whatever the category says. Is this going to be pay per post? I have it disabled on this site, but a pay per post allows you to charge for access to get inside of this particular post. And then these ones where it says system pages are going to show different error messages for these configurations and what message you do. So let's say that somebody who is not a member comes along and they click on a link to this post. We come over here to configure. There are a few different options. You can have a default option, and you can see where it refers you to the error pages, which means that everybody who refers to that default option is going to get the same message. Or you can customize it. There are a few different ways you can do that. Page would be for a WordPress page. URL could be any URL anywhere on the internet. Or you can display a custom message. So this is the default message that comes in there. It says the content you're trying to view is for members only. Please register or log in. And then this little link, this is one of the merge codes or short code that we talked about before. And that'll give a URL to the login form. So you can do that. And if somebody clicks on this and you have it set to message, they'll see this. If you have it set to page or URL, they'll go over to whatever page or URL you specify. So if I come over to page, you can see where it'll say, well, what page do you want? And if I come over to URL, it's like you just type in the URL. So let's close that out. And that happens for people who are non-members. You might be in the wrong membership level for a post. Is your membership canceled or is it expired? Do you need approval or do you have to confirm your email address? So there's different messages you can provide to everybody based upon what happens if you're not supposed to see that. Now, these three down here come from the content protection that we were looking at. So the scheduler, this is how you drip information out. You see the membership levels, and you don't have to show this to every membership level. It could be for one membership level that you want to drip out. So you can say, after a publication, the day that I publish this post, how many days do I wait before I show it to somebody? And it could be a different amount for each of these membership levels. And over here is, how long do I show it for? Does this go out there and stay out there? Or is it something that's only posted for a week, 2 weeks, a month, whatever it may be? And then you can put a value in for that. So that's your scheduler to drip content out. The archiver basically says, what date do you want to take this post off? And let's say that October 31st, it's no longer relevant, you take it off. An example of this might be a Black Friday sale. So you have something that's out there for a particular period of time. When the sales are over, there's no point in having the post up anymore. You can just simply archive it at that point. The manager is one where you can actually save some scheduled actions and settings. So we can look at our actions and you can change things. You can change the content status. You can add it to a category, move it, or repost it. So maybe this is something that happens on a recurring basis. Maybe you do a quarterly membership drive and you have a schedule for when this comes out. So you can choose your scheduled date and when it's published. And if you want it to go away, you could maybe change it back to pending review or draft so it's not published anymore. But let's say it's a repost content. You get a few more options. So scheduled when it goes there. And what's the repetition for how many days? So maybe this comes up, at the first of every month. So maybe every 30 days, months, years, however often you want to have that repetition. And then you can say, how many times do I repeat it? And then you can save these schedules so that you can use them on other posts as well. So that is what I meant when I said there are a lot of flexible options for how you deliver content. And these system messages, I think, help your visitors understand what's going on if they can't see something. Now, there's one other thing that I wanted to show you here. You see in this post, I've got this little section here. There's a block that says, can you see me? Over here on the WordPress block editor or the Gutenberg editor, there's a wishlist member. If you turn this on, you can see what happens for this block. So who can see what's in there? Could it be everybody? Maybe, if they're not logged in or if they are logged in. So let's say that for people who aren't logged in, maybe you put something in there that is to entice them to sign up or register, but you don't need to do that to people who are already logged in or part of your membership. So you hide it from those folks. So you can choose who gets to see this. And then you can choose if there's a membership level that's related to it. And then you can give them an option. You could hide the block. So for example, people who are logged in maybe don't need to see an offer to log in or join a membership because they're already done. Or you can show a custom message. In this case, I just put down, this is for members only. And it'll just replace that text. Instead of saying, can you see me? This is for members only. But this text can be anything that you want it to be. So you can have multiple blocks. You can have different types of widgets or blocks in here. And that gives you some flexibility with who sees what inside of your WordPress post and pages. I mentioned that Wishlist Member is what I think the king of integrations, and for good reason. So let's go over here to Setup, and you can see integrations. There are going to be three major categories: payment providers, email providers, and other services. I use ThriveCart. Other people may want to use Stripe. They might want to use Samcart, maybe WooCommerce, any number of things. The reason I use ThriveCart is because it allows me to choose my payment gateways there. So I have Stripe and PayPal. I can offer Apple Pay or Google Pay, any credit card that they want to offer. And that happens inside of ThriveCart, just as it probably would if you did Stripe over here. But the difference is, using a cart service, is that you can do bump orders. So in other words, they buy a course from me that, hey, would you like to have these templates to go along with the course for another $15? Just as an example. And they have the option then to spend a little bit more money and increase the value that I get from their order. You can also do things called upsell and downsell. So if you bought this, maybe you'd rather have a bundle of related courses. And if that doesn't work out, the downsell is like, okay, well, maybe you just want this. And you can do too many, I think, upsells and downsells. But the difference is, if you come over here to PayPal, they pay for one thing, and it's straightforward. They get what they wanted. But if you use a cart like ThriveCart, that's the one that I use, then you have an opportunity to offer other things during the checkout process. And that can give you additional revenue and also a way to serve your customers for things that perhaps they didn't know about. Maybe they only saw one sale page. So you can show them other offers to see if they want to get it. And perhaps you can give them a discount on a bundle rather than them spending full price for each course or each option that you have. So I think using a cart service like ThriveCart is really a good example. All right, so let's go over to email providers. You want to get people on your email list so you can send them additional information. You can stay in touch. You keep them as a warm audience, because at some point you either need to help them with something or you might have something else to offer that they could use. I use Fluent CRM, but you can see there's ConvertKit is over here, as well as many other popular ones. There's Aweber over here, Infusionsoft, GetResponse, Drip, Constant Contact. There's MadMimi and MailChimp, and you can see that there are plenty of other ones over here. There's also a generic option, and it'll give you instructions on how you can connect to a mail service provider that's not listed here. Other services have other integrations. So you can see I've got a couple here. I've got webhooks, and I also have LearnDash. I use the BuddyBoss platform. This one is not enabled on the demo site, but that'll integrate with the groups and forums. So say somebody sent a message, somebody posted something, you can have that interact with Wishlist Member. You're going to find that there are different page builders. So here's one for Divi. Here is one for Elementor. So you've got ways to include them inside of your Wishlist Member environment. You also have some webinars. So this is Easy Webinar. There is GoToWebinar. And then there are different learning management systems. So as I mentioned, I have LearnDash. You'll see there is Lifter LMS, Tutor LMS, WP Courseware, Sensei LMS. And there's still a few other things. So for example, if you want to integrate with a commerce system, there's eLearn Commerce. I think that's another LMS. But there's also iDev Affiliate, in case you want to sell affiliates or let an affiliate sell your membership or courses for you. You can integrate with Slack, so that way you can get updates on your phone, or in my case, if I have an Apple Watch, something happens, I just look down at my wrist and I know what happened. You have services like Pabbly and Zapier. These are third-party middleware integration services. So if you have something you need to integrate with, the choice between a webhook, Pabbly, or Zapier can probably help you get an integration to something that's not listed here. Another thing I wanted to point out was this one for Presto Player. This is a video player that embeds videos from different sources in WordPress. So it could be from YouTube, it could be from Vimeo. I have a service called Searchy, and I embed my courses and put those inside of Presto Player. And this is a relatively new players. In other words, this only came out a few months before I recorded this video. And that tells me something. It tells me that Wishlist Member is actively developing. They're looking for integrations, and other vendors, probably like Presto Player, are going to Wishlist Member because they're a key player in the membership community and they want to be integrated with Wishlist Member. So you'll see this list grow from the time that I've done this to some other time in the future. There'll be other integrations in here. So the same thing happened with this email provider. When I first started, I think they were only up to about 1.5 rows of integrations, and now they've almost got 4 complete rows of integrations. So integrations are ongoing activities because, as I said, that's the philosophy of Wishlist Member. Integrate so you can build a best-of-breed system. Member management is going to be key for you. You need to be able to move members from one level to another. You need maybe to pause their membership or to cancel their membership or reactivate them. So you can see that, for example, I could check this box and we could do a bulk on everybody if we wanted to. And then you can select an action. Do I want to move them to a level or do I want to add them to a level? So for example, this member is on basic. Maybe I want to add this one to another member that's also pro. And keep in mind, this is just one. I could add them to both if I wanted to. So they'd be pro and platinum. And then you can say, what's the date that it's going to happen? You can determine if you want an email notification, if you want to send a confirmation, and then just go ahead and click that and send things off. You can search for your users here. You can look for your users based upon everybody in the WordPress system, who's a member, who's not a member. Do you have people with incomplete registrations, or which membership plan are they on? Another way to filter is to come over to this next box. Are they active or inactive? Do they cancel or expire? And so on down the line. You can see a few other things. But what I really like is that you can save these, and you can also come over here to an advanced search and put these criteria in here, and you can see where save this search. So if you do things on a regular basis, you don't have to type the same criteria in all the time. You can just simply save the search and then run it when you need to. And then here's where your saved searches will appear. If you need to manually enter somebody, there is a nice plus over here. So you can put in their criteria and just add them in. If you have an existing membership or a list of people who are going to be part of your membership, obviously you can import them right here. And you can download a sample CSV, a comma separated value file. Maybe that's something you put in your spreadsheet, load your members in there, and then you upload them here. And you can determine what's required. So maybe it'll reject some of them if it doesn't have the required information. And of course, you can specify, like for example, a registration date. Is it in the file, or are you going to use the date that you imported? And you have a few other options over here. Likewise, you can export your users, which might be good for a backup at some point. If you need to do a bulk move or mass member move, let's say everybody who's a non-member, you want to add them to the basic plan. Easy way to do it right there. Sequential upgrade is something that is an old way of doing a drip. So before they had the content control with the scheduler in there to drip things out, you would simply move people from one membership to another that had the information that they wanted. I don't see much of a need for this anymore, but it's interesting that it's still there. And of course, sometimes you do need to block some people. So you've got a way to block people with a blacklist on their email address or their IP address. And then you can set a message for them, depending upon whether they were blocked because of their email address, because of their IP address, or because they triggered both at the same time. So you've got a number of options there. Also with data privacy, this is a big concern for a lot of people, particularly in the age of GDPR. I would say that you want to make sure that when people sign up, they know what they're getting into. So you can require your terms of service on the registration form. And then there's a configuration over here. So you can put whatever text you want here for the checkbox that says check here to say that you've read the terms of service. And also here's an error message in case they don't. So that's very handy. Now this one, display consent checkbox for additional marketing. Just because someone signed up for your membership doesn't necessarily mean that they approved marketing. And depending upon where you are or how you want to work with your customers, you can give them a checkbox that says, yes, I read your terms of service. And another one says, yeah, please do send me your weekly digest or any offers or marketing material that you have. So you can add that over here and the same kind of configuration. These checkboxes for the legal pages, to put them on your footer, I leave off because my theme handles that. But you do want to put your privacy policy, your disclaimer, and your terms of service, I would say, on your footer. So you can let Wishlist Member handle that or not. This one down here, I disable because IP address is a personally identifying piece of data that I don't need. There is a tenet that I worked by when I was in information security. Never capture or save any data that you do not need, because you're responsible for protecting data for your customers. And I don't need their IP address, so therefore I don't want the responsibility of protecting it, so it's not there. Now you'll find there are some email templates over here, and this is the same thing you're going to see in many parts of Wishlist Member. You click this, edit, and you can see, there's the message that goes in the email. You can put your subject over here. And these things over here where it's in brackets, those are merge codes. So first name, last name, login URL, and so forth. You can go ahead and put that information in there. So that way, this is something that automates if somebody has a request for user information, if they want to download their user information, they want to make sure that you erased their user information and an unsubscribe notification in case they unsubscribe. So those are all data privacy concerns. And these are the messages that you can send them based upon these actions. Now, as far as manage user data information, this is now handled by WordPress. And you'll find that down here in the tools, you'll see where it says export personal data and erase personal data. So you can set that up, and then there are links over here that will pass them to the page so that they can export their personal data or erase their personal data. So those are GDPR requirements, and WordPress handles that for you. It used to be that Wishlist Member would do this for you. Now WordPress covers it, so they just let WordPress handle it. When you get down to it, price matters. There are more expensive, and there are probably some less expensive WordPress membership plugins. I find this one is a very good value. I know I've got a thing down here showing MemberPress memberships, charges $279 for its basic level for a single site license. Compare that to $149 annually. MemberPress does a lot more things, but are they the things that you want to do? In other words, they have their own payment integration. I prefer this because I like using the ThriveCart system that I use. Other people like WooCommerce, SamCart, or something else. And that is a philosophical difference between some of the plugins and Wishlist Member. So if you like this approach, I think, honestly, this is a better value. It is more flexible. And also, even if you look at the pricing, at most, MemberPress will let you do 5 URLs, and it charges $599 currently as I'm recording this. So it's $399 for 20 sites. It's $299 for 5 sites. You're spending, a couple $100 extra bucks to get the same thing that you're doing over here, with a difference in the integrations, as I mentioned. You're going to want to do integrations with any WordPress plugin. I would say this is the reason why I love Wishlist Member. It realizes what it does well. It doesn't give you a mediocre solution just to check a box. It says, here are your options for best of breed. And notice on each of those integrations, there was a generic option. So if the one that you want isn't listed, with either a webhook or the generic option, you can still integrate with your payment gateway. You can still integrate with your email provider. And the webhooks under the other integrations, I think, lets you integrate with a lot of services. So what do you get for your money? All the plans have the same features. There is a 30-day money-back guarantee, no questions asked. If you're within that 30-day window and you decide this is not for me, that essentially means that if you buy this, it is risk-free for the first 30 days. You can try it out, put it on your demo site or wherever you want to, and make sure that it works for you. If you're not sure how it works, not only do they have good documentation and videos, but remember, I will give you my course on how to use Wishlist Member, all the different options, all the different parts of those panels, so you'll understand exactly how it works and how to get the most value out of it. Typically that sells for $97, but if you buy using my affiliate link, which is in the description below, it is suburbiapress.com/wishlist. You'll get that course for free. All you have to do is come down, contact me on my contact page, suburbiapress.com/contact. Let me know your order number. I'll verify that with the folks at Wishlist Member. And once they confirm the sale, then I will grant you access to the course. Of all these features, please let me know in the comments. Do you have a favorite? What are you looking to do with your Wishlist Member environment? Are you looking to sell courses? Are you looking for a membership site? There are plenty of other tools that can integrate with this. There are pros and cons to each of them. And if you have questions, I will do my best to help you out, and I can let you know what my experience is. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with me today. I really appreciate it. If you would, please click the like button. That tells YouTube that we did something right. They will share this with more people. So any questions and interactivity really helps. Subscribe, and then you'll see new videos that come out if you click that little bell notification icon. And I really appreciate it. It helps the channel grow. Thank you again. I'll see you in the next video.